Welcome to another exciting breaking news. I feel like I got some good stuff for you all. We got Bigfoot Anon, my news host. He's on the side. He's going to give us his opinion of some of these videos that we're going to see. And, we might have another guest. I don't know. It's a mystery. It's always a mystery sometimes if a guest shows up or not. But that's the fun thing about a mystery. Now, I have been getting some emails of some people who actually has good memory. It says, Eric, I haven't really seen anything lately from you. You haven't sent out any newsletters like you have in the past. And I just want to make a really fast thing. What people are talking about is I actually have a website that I haven't done something on for a long time. I'm bad on it. I admit that. It's called gypsyroad.live. I have this for over a year and a half. And it's a mix of paranormal, Bigfoot, UFOs. And I have like different people's channels on there. Like for example, if you go into the Bigfoot section, like I said, I haven't updated this. These are old videos. If you click on the Bigfoot section, you scroll down, you see the Sasquatchers, you see Manimal Research. You go all the way down, you'll see Bigfoot stories, and you even have Bigfoot Anon down here. Even though I haven't updated the videos, it doesn't mean you could click on it and go to their website. And then you can see all their modern videos. I will be updating this. I haven't done, like I said, I haven't updated this lately. So I'm bad on it. And I used to do where I used to have some fun where I would do top 10 horror stuff. Like I would do stuff that's from YouTube friends. I did a voting one day. Wolfen was voted #1, The Thing, The Haunting, Donald Bronco, Shaun of the Dead, and then of course I put my top five horror sci-fi picks. So like I said, and then I used to send out newsletters once a week. It became so much work. I kind of, I had to pick where I needed to put my my time at. But I'm planning to do a newsletter again, but maybe more like once a month of upcoming events, upcoming cons, and all that. So I will be working on this again and trying to get this back up. It is up. It's just I haven't updated in a long time. So if anybody cares, go to the gypsyroad.live, sign up. It's free. And then when I get the newsletter started back up, sign up for it, and you'll get the newsletter. I usually put the latest news, latest shows coming up, what's going on out there in the world of the paranormal, Bigfoots, and all that. So it's something that I'm gonna try to concentrate. And first thing I got to do is update it with the newest videos, and just go from there. So that's the story of that. And I apologize to the people who like, Eric, I haven't seen nothing from you. I apologize. Sometimes you just gotta pick where you need to put all your time in. So I'm bad on that.
I feel like when we got that strike on Horror Talk, that's when the website kind of took like a little bit of a little speed bump, and then you got the job for the busy season. So, life happens, but man, you started the breaking news show kind of in spot of that. So I think everything happens for a reason. Magic happens. They could check the blog. They could check your Reddit page. But always just meet us live here on YouTube, D Live, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook. Oh my gosh, the Gypsy Road is everywhere.
And we're gonna start with the Bigfoot today. All right. Before I show a couple videos, I'm going to do a couple shout outs. Yesterday, there was a couple shows that had some good Bigfoot interviews. One of them was Space Out Radio, had Carter Bushard on, and that was pretty good. I didn't watch all 3 hours, but the stuff that I watched on it was pretty good because I felt like they were open-minded. They were talking about not just the Bigfoot, they were talking about Bigfoot, UFOs, all mixing together. I kind of like that when they're not afraid to just stick with one topic. And I thought that was pretty good. So I want to give that a shout out. And that's the link for that show. And then, of course, yesterday there was another another great interview show. Let me get that one up. Let me see here. Bigfoot Anon was on with Trinity Pabra Cryptid Research, which that was a fantastic episode. And some of you in the beginning of the show yesterday saw that we kind of did a sneak peek. We actually went in there and was watching Connor live on that channel, on this channel. Little quick things. Look at Connor. Look at that energy. Didn't have the show. He's still going. So that was an awesome interview. And that interview was only like an hour, 8 minutes. So, if you can spend 1 hour is easy. The 3 hours, it's a little harder. I get that, but I'm going to put a link to that interview. So that was awesome. So I'm going to stop that. And then I want to show that the hard work that everybody does, sometimes you don't know if your hard work is paying off. Is the Bigfoot community growing? Sometimes you really don't truly know. But I'm going to show you something that I feel like it is growing, and it's kind of cool. Let me show here. Let me get this here. In Virginia, they're actually having a Bigfoot con up in June 18th. Why I'm bringing that up? This is their first, according to this, when I was reading it, it's their first Bigfoot con ever there in that city. And what that means is it's growing, people, because to throw a con, to have a con work, you have to make money. That's just simple. If you can't make money, because renting out places, renting out hotels, renting out to have people con there, it costs money. So to have faith, to open up a con and knowing people, you're going to get people there, that's telling you that the Bigfoot community is growing. And seeing cons popping up this state, that state, and that other state really shows you that it's growing, because you got to have people to go to these cons. If you don't have anybody go to these cons, they're not going to pop up. And if nothing pops up, nothing's growing. So this is a great sign of growth within the Bigfoot community. And it's a lot due to Bigfoot Anon. I see Long Island Bigfoot in the chat. Nonum Boss. I mean, all of you tributes to the Bigfoot community. So when you see cons like that, even if you can't go, leave comments saying, fantastic. I support you guys. Keep these cons going, because that's going to open up people's minds. Because listen, some kid going to walk by and say, hey, where are all these people going? They're going to a Bigfoot con. What's a Bigfoot con? Is it like a comic book con? And people will pay. They will go. They will check it out. And that might be enough to inspire them to do their own thing. So when you hear things like that, Bigfoot Anon, Connor, am I crazy?
No, 100%. I am very inspired, because Daniel Benoit is an awesome friend, man. I've been following his research up there in the Midwest for a while now, just because my grandparents live right in the West Virginia mountains. So Virginia is familiar territory to me. And I was really excited to see they got their feet up under them and it going. And $15 for a ticket, come on, to meet some interesting, famous researchers. It's going to be a great time. Yeah. Daniel, if you ever hear this or anybody is close with them, I'm very interested, and I'm a great speaker for these events. I could get the place rocking and rolling. And plus Long Island Bigfoot, we could meet, halfway right in the Virginia mountains or in the river, man. So I'm very looking forward to the future and a bunch of conferences. And of course, man, the Florida Great Bigfoot Conference was incredible. And then in June, there's a Skunk Ape Town Hall Conference that I'm speaking at. So awesome. There is no missing time with all these conventions and meetups. So just spread your wings, guys. Even if you don't want to be loud and talking to everybody on the podium, be there in the shadows too, because you make a lot of friends. I was so proud seeing, Nana Boss becoming friends with Flat Rock, and then meeting up with BF Bud. It was so awesome. And, Squatch in South Florida definitely has a lot to do with this moving forward. His interview with Shane Carpenter the other day was revolutionary. Into the 400 over in the Ozark Mountains, they have incredible data, and it was very brave of him to share it. And Matt asked all the right questions. So it was such a pleasure for a Bigfoot researcher like myself to be in there gathering new information. Man, I had my notebook ready, and I hope all you guys do in the future too.
and I like what Long Island Bigfoot says here. The Mountain Monster Show helped that area out. You know, when some people make fun of shows like that, I told you it's a guilty pleasure for me. But it does open people's mind. Commercials with the Bigfoots we talked about yesterday, which I got another commercial I will be showing you. But what is sad here that I did see in the chat that Chasing the Truth said Norton, Virginia has Wood Booger Festival been postponed due to the sickness stuff. Yeah, that sucks. I mean, that's going to happen, but don't let that discourage you. Just, keep looking out. And when it does come back stronger to it. Tell people to go to it. That's because a lot of these places, when they have to cancel, they lost money. They still got to pay that rent. They took a chance, and they need your help and support. So that's sad, but I think they're going to come back strong. Now, saying that, let me show you guys this a Bigfoot video that I have about Bigfoot himself. Is that it? Shit, where did I put it? I hope I think this is it. Hold on a second. Hold on. That's not it. Hold on. Let me get that off my screen. I have my screen set up in order. Now, even Bigfoot has to follow social distance, according to what I just saw. Not just us, even the Bigfoot. So check out this commercial video that's from my state of Washington that I live in, because Washington cares about the Sasquatch. That's why we have that law. It's manslaughter to kill a Bigfoot. If you shoot one, you better prove that he's attacking you, because if you can't prove that, you could go to prison. Here we go.
The following public service announcement is sponsored by the Mythical Creature Association of the Pacific Northwest and brought to you by wakingbear.org.
Hey, so I get a lot of alone time, and it's cool. I know many of your humans are just freaking out, being stuck at home, and for some of you, no access to your usual fix of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. So here's some ways you can enjoy yourself while you're stuck at home. Enjoy your daily rituals, have a nice cup of coffee, chill with your pets, take a good nap. Play your favorite game. Look out the window once in a while. Take your bike out for a nice ride. Enjoy a good glass of wine. Remember to wash your hands and keep up with your daily hygiene. Definitely get a workout in. Dance like nobody's watching. Nobody's seen me yet. And if you do have to go out for supplies, keep a safe distance from others. One day, I trust, life will return to normal. Click the link.
I love that, because, it just shows that Bigfoot is everywhere, and yeah, is it for humans more? Yeah, but still using the Bigfoot, getting outdoors and stuff. I thought it was a fun ass video. The state of Washington, when we have the Sonics, their mascot was the Sasquatch. So the Bigfoot and Sasquatch is respected up here. And it's kind of cute on how they did that commercial. And Happy Feet Gal sent that to me in an email. Thank you. Some of these videos I'm showing has been sent from you guys. Long Island Bigfoot a while back sent me some videos that I played on his. So if you send me a video clip, make sure it's like between 1 minute to 3 minutes, not like 5 or 20 minutes. I'll show it, and I'll give you the shout out on who sent it to me. So Connor, what do you think of that commercial?
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. The whole vibe was really chill. The narrator was really cool. The Bigfoot suit was amazing, unless they actually, contacted a real Seattle supersonic to come down from the mountains and act for the commercial. But it was very cool, 1,000,000%. I am, against social distancing and all that junk. And I think it's funny, hide and seek champion, social distance champion. But I actually have made it a thing. I've gave away a knife that said social distance champion for Bigfoot. I gave Nana Boss a shirt this weekend that said social distance champion. I don't promote social distancing. I promote love and smiles and handshakes. But if we're going to be talking about it, I want to see Sasquatch in it. So it's better than robots, mining us for gold.
And at least we show him, go in the mountains, even with the jukebox, check it out with nature, being one with it. So you don't have to keep yourself stuck, even though the world is doing it. Go out in the woods. Go out, dance out there, have fun, research. Don't let it stop you.
It was hilarious. And if I was watching television and my show was on and that just randomly popped on, it would bring a smile to my face. So I appreciated it.
All right. Now, this next video I'm going to show is it is actually a Bigfoot sightings in Littleton, North Carolina. It's a news channel that actually covered this story on the local channel, and I thought it was kind of cool.
North Carolina town, something big is spooking residents. Multiple people have claimed to see a large furry animal trudging through the woods.
There's now even a museum dedicated to the sightings of what some are calling Bigfoot. CBS North Carolina's Carly Griffith has more from Littleton.
I literally could see him from all the way over here. I started hearing it.
Tiffany Merrill recounts the morning she saw a creature weaving through the woods behind her house.
It was very large, and its hair was super long, and it was running so fast.
Right away after, so could it have been a hunter, a guy in a ghillie suit, or a bear?
That's not like a bear, and it wasn't like a coyote. I've never seen anything like that whatsoever.
Stephen Barcelo is a cryptozoologist. He investigates sightings of creatures whose existence hasn't been proven. He says Merrill is not the only one who's seen what he believes to be a Bigfoot.
There's a lot of people in this town that have had sightings who still won't come talk to us just out of fear of being ridiculed, and that's very common.
Barcelo says one reason for the recent sightings of the creature may be this. There have been logging of forests all around Littleton for the past 6 months, possibly disturbing the creature's habitat.
A sighting at nearby Medoc Mountain State Park turned up a good find for Barcelo. An abnormal footprint he was able to cast and show to park rangers.
We brought it in. They ended up calling another ranger in and another ranger, then the superintendent, and they had all bets were off. They had no idea what it was.
The unidentifiable print is now displayed in the museum he's created in his Littleton home. Barcelo admits he's never seen a Bigfoot, and he may never be able to prove its existence. But he can certainly draw in a curious crowd that will boost his town's tourism.
We're putting Littleton on the map, which is good. So, and that's, for a positive reason and for a fun reason.
In Littleton, Carly Griffith, CBS North Carolina.
A small North Carolina.
I played that for a lot of different reasons, because it inspires me to see that a guy believes in it that much, even though he hasn't seen it himself, and not just have a museum. He's like, well, I can't have a building, I'll just do it in my house. Built a museum, let people come in and see it. And it's cool to see a local news channel, to broadcast it. I mean, there's a lot of good things there, and it does help out towns. If it's helping out a town, if people are driving there, that means people are believing the Bigfoot. Because I don't know what everybody does on their free time, but if I have a certain amount of money, I'm not going to go to a town if I don't believe in something. If I'm going to go to town, look at something, buy something, it means I'm curious about it, and that's enough. That's enough to get somebody in. I mean, that's just my opinion.
100%. And I definitely want to go check out that museum, because I've been up to the Expedition Bigfoot Museum up in, Tennessee, Georgia borderline, and then the Skunk Ape headquarters down in the Everglades. And I always wanted to check out the places like the Mothman Museum, and then they have a couple other museums in West Virginia, like the Flatwoods Monster, and then West Virginia Bigfoot Museum, pretty much right down the street. So I definitely want to check it out. I think Trippy Times Josh, he's in North Carolina. He should check it out and send us a video live and direct from
That'd
there.
Be awesome.
That would be super rad.
And I will put the link of all these videos in the description. I keep the links out so you don't watch them before you watch the show. So link will be there. It'll tell you the town and where it's at. And I'm sure you can just type in now the town, and I'm sure you can find it that way too. But I thought that was really cool. So
I GPSed it. It's 10.5 hours from me, at least just to the town. I didn't check to see if the museum is still open. I hope so. But I can always contact the researcher and say, hey, I want to see what you got. And he had the Honey Island swamp monster in there, which is really cool because he's up in North Carolina, and that's down in the Louisiana swamp.
I thought of you when I saw that.
I've been down there. Yes.
I thought of you. I
want everybody to think of me when the Honey Island swamp monster comes. And then also think of Chris Jericho, the wrestler, because he actually did a Honey Island swamp monster TV show that he went there researching it. And it's really rad, man. And I actually went on, Jericho's cruise to the Bahamas, and I talked to him about Bigfoot. That's the only thing I cared about was ghost Bigfoot and the Bermuda Triangle.
All right. Now, guys, we're going to jump over to the UFO before the paranormal today. So let's start the intro. All right. Now, the footage I'm going to show you is a footage that a lot of people have already seen, but I'm so curious to know this footage, what Connor thinks of it. This is about, this is not a UFO in space. This is actually supposedly an alien, or I think it could be a creature or something, but I'm really curious what Connor thinks of it. I know everybody's seen it. I know it's been on TV, so it's not something new. So everybody in the chat, don't like, hey, I've seen that a while back. Everybody's seen that. Doesn't matter. Some people have, some people haven't. Here we go.
Viral video from La Junta in southeastern Colorado. All right, Vivian Gomez wrote on Facebook that her security camera captured this on Sunday morning. There are people on Facebook who say it looks like Dobby from Harry Potter, or a ghost or an alien, or a kid in flip-flops and underwear. We think it looks like Lisa doing her Sunday morning dance. I don't know. Yeah? Lisa, were you in La Junta on Sunday?
I know she was out of town.
Give it away. The video has been seen by 11 million people.
That's going to be the new dance craze right there.
So, what do you think of that? Have you seen that before?
Oh, yeah. That is an awesome clip. I think it's Dobby, from Harry Potter. That is a house elf right there. But in reality, it could be a gremlin, fairy, a type of rake-type creature, maybe something out of a cave or out of a mound. I've interviewed a lot of people down here that have seen similar creatures to those, right by Native American mounds and huge hillsides. So I think they have underground corridors, kind of like the Keebler elves and the stories we hear, man. But that's incredible. It kind of reminds me of the dinosaur footage down here in Florida as well. But that right there is not a human being. That's something magical.
And it was enough for a news channel to pick it up, And so that's why I thought it was kind of cool. I know everybody's seen them, but I'm like, well, a news channel picked it up. That usually means they know exactly where the source came from, exactly from the house. And then when you have less people that's had the video go from here to here to here, less people played with it. So it makes you think, okay, can that be real? Or is it fake? I mean, of course, we will never fully know. But if the source came directly from the house to the news channel, then, the 50% of being true or fake goes a little higher. That's how I judge things. I try to debunk everything first. How many times has something, went through somebody's hands? It's just like if you have 8 people sitting around the table, you tell the person next to you something, by the time it goes all the way around you, it's a total different story. But if you have less people, then the story is more real from the origin of the story. That's just the way I look at it. Now, this next one is kind of neat. I don't know if a lot of people have seen this or not. I don't know if this is even really considered a UFO, but I said, what the hell? I was hyping in UFOs. This story came in here. What is it called? Let me I gotta find it now. God sightings caught on Google Maps camera. So apparently, a couple was Switzerland. Was looking at Google Maps. Apparently, they caught something where they think it's God or Jesus, and I wanted to hear Connor's opinion. I want to hear the people in the chat's opinion. Did they catch something, or is it just a glitch of the camera? Is it just a glare? Well, let's see. What the? Or is it all a hoax?
It's a vibe, that's for sure.
Yeah, I had to check it to make sure the music wasn't copyright. It wasn't, so I can use it. What's interesting to me about that, if it wasn't Photoshop, if somebody did not put that there, what's interesting is you can't get weird visuals in looking up. But if it hasn't been fucked with, it is kind of cool where the two images have different colors. One's more black, one's more pink. Like somebody's walking with, like a man and a woman are walking together. If this has been untouched.
Yeah, if it's not been touched, it's truly something fascinating. Either it's, some kind of god or deity up in the sky, or maybe it's like a Project Bluebeam projection, or maybe some kind of chemical mixture that creates that shape, or maybe it's something like the sky rods or some type of fairy deity, or some type of force field. It's very interesting. A good catch. It doesn't seem like, they faked it themselves. They walked us right to it, how to do it. So if we could, replicate it, that's very cool. I know there are glitches on Google Maps as well. They try to say it's from satellites, it's from balloons and planes, but it's very interesting. But man, that was not what I was expecting. That's for dang sure.
I know, that's what, when I was watching it, and, saying that's God. I mean, you can say it's God, you can say it's Jesus, you can say it's a couple angels, or, maybe there's I don't know, spaceship behind the clouds with the reflection of a color light that's causing, I mean, there's so many things that could be, but I think it's interesting. I mean, it's just it's kind of cool. It's almost of course, two people are walking.
And of course, just to clarify, of course, the dark figure looks like an older male, most likely. Yes. And then the pink one or the red one looks like either female companion or young daughter, maybe some type of other animal or something too. Yeah. Maybe they are animals, maybe they're blurs. Yeah. But that's very, very interesting. And shout out to the Google Maps hunters because they find Bigfoot, pyramids, mud fossils, dragons. There's a lot of cool stuff on Google Maps, but you kind of work with them, meet them halfway, because some of it is just propaganda programming. Yeah. But that is very cool. That makes you go, huh? At the very least.
And Sandra Piper, I mean, we know that's not God. If God would send his angels to do the work where people could see, but it's still interesting. I mean, it is an interesting. What is that?
Right.
What is that?
I say that everything is God. And I know my brothers Josh and Evan from Occult 45 and then Trippy Times, they've both done the potions and meditations and put their mind outside of this realm. And they could tell you that there's things like that all around us at all times. So maybe the camera really just got a touch of that other side, of that other realm, of maybe a multi-dimensional object in the sky. So that's pretty cool, man. It's pretty magical. Yeah. And again, Eric, you have to put all these on TikTok because all these videos are hundreds, thousands, man. Gypsy Road, get into the new crew.
I'm trying to. Okay, I got Google Maps up. I'll type it in. We'll give it a shot. We'll see if we can get that. 8877. Okay. 8877. I have to go back and forth to see how they're writing it. So they're Quarton.
Just my guess though, that system looked way older. I'm guessing the video was years old. But so the picture will be different if we find it. My guess, but who knows? You know, we might be able to find it. That would make it even more remarkable. But I just highly recommend people look into things that you could find on Google Maps. Like there's tons of lists that they say all these strange anomalies, and you can type them in and do it yourself. I think it's very cool type of research. I'm always Google mapping crap. Just like when me, Matt, and Nana Boss and Kat had our crazy incident in Colt Creek. I was like, all right, Matt, let's look at the overview. Let's see what it looked like, you know, behind that. So it's definitely a very important factor of research.
And I'll play with this on the side. It's kind of hard also on an Apple because you gotta change it from computer image to like satellite and then go for the sky. So, and that'll take too much time. So I will do that next time. Maybe I'll do a follow-up on this and see if I get a snapshot, because that could be a one-time deal. You could probably go back to the same spot and that's not there no more. I mean, there's a strong possibility. It could be just a one-time deal. Maybe it was meant just for that one person, for that reason, to tell them, you got to come here. You know, there's something here for you. You know, they say messages come to you in mysterious ways. You know, if you believe in the religion stuff, God is talking to you in a mysterious way. It could be a sign for the individual person who's seeing that. But let's go into the paranormal. All right. Now this video is about 4 minutes. It is a little bit longer, but I thought it's not like caught on camera. It's a police station telling a story, and I kind of like stuff like this when it's coming from departments that you would not think these stories would come from. You know, we don't look at the firemen or the police stations. Even, I don't know, see, you don't think of them ever talking about this kind of stuff because of the position that they're in. So when I see stuff like this, I kind of give it extra kudos.
Police Department's training academy in Waipahu haunted? Well, some say it is.
Yeah, on this Halloween night, the department has allowed us to share another video, the unexplained paranormal experiences of a former security guard.
During the day, it's a pretty busy place with all the officers, training staff, and recruits on campus. But once the sun goes down, oh, this place is totally different. It's dark, no traffic, no pedestrians, nothing. And that's when strange things start to happen. That's why I hate coming here at night. But believe it or not, the HPD has overnight security guards to keep an eye on this place. One of them is a friend of mine named Tony. Well, one night, as he was doing his building checks, he heard a sound like wood clanking together. Now, no one was supposed to be here that night, so he went to go check it out. As he passed the K-9 building, he could hear the dogs going nuts in the kennels, running around, barking, kicking their food dishes, so he knew he wasn't the only one who could hear it. When he got near the SWAT house, the noise got louder and louder. As he looked at the building, he noticed that all the wooden shutters were opening and closing repeatedly, but there was no one standing next to the windows working the shutters. What's more, it was a windless night, so the wind wasn't blowing the shutters either. Tony took a few steps closer to the SWAT house, and all at once, the shutters stopped moving. It was dead quiet. Even the dogs stopped barking. Tony slowly walked towards the SWAT house, peeked in through the window and said,
"Hello? Is anyone here?"
But no one answered, and the building was empty. But wait, Tony's story doesn't end there. A couple of nights later, Tony was doing his regular routine, closing the front gate, making sure it was secured, and doing his checks around the property. Everything seemed normal, and of course, He was the only one at the academy, so he decided to sit down in the breezeway to pass the time. But as he stared out into the parking lot, he noticed an old lady dressed in white walking towards him. At first, he thought the lady may have been lost or needed help. So Tony waved at her to get her attention, but she didn't respond and kept walking toward him. The funny thing crossed his mind. He didn't hear the gate open, so how did she get in? As Tony stood up to ask the old lady, she disappeared. Tony thought, oh no, not again. But this time, he decided he better call his supervisor about it. So he turned, and guess who's standing there? Yep, the lady in white. And guess what? She starts slowly walking towards him, eyes fixed and staring at him. By now, Tony is freaking out. He's so scared. He can't move. He's frozen. She's so close to him that he notices that her face looks angry. He tries to yell or scream. Nothing comes out. Then whoosh, she disappears again. Tony let out a sigh of relief and slowly looked around.
Run, Tony.
But this time, no one was there.
Run, Tony.
He sat back down to gather his thoughts. He couldn't believe that the ghost appeared twice and was coming after him. Tony was about to stand up and call his supervisor when guess who decides to show up? Yep, the old lady was back, and this time she was sitting right across from him. This was too much for Tony to handle.
You did right.
He sprang up and booked it the heck out of there. See? Tony should have taken my advice the first time. And none of this would have happened.
Refuse to speak on camera. Now, I agree with I think Amber said I can't find her. Reenactment is definitely more animated than what happened. I'm sure. Yeah, I mean it's way more animated, but it's still an interesting story because he did have to call a supervisor. I mean, listen, you're security for a police station. Nobody wants to call a supervisor and to say, I think I've seen a ghost, you know? I mean, it makes you look crazy. It makes you look nuts. So if you're calling a supervisor, unless you're a nutball yourself, there's something to this story. He saw something. Because trust me, nobody wants to call supervisors. Most supervisors and managers don't know what the fuck they're doing. They don't care. You know, you feel like when you call them, you're wasting their time. And you're going to call them about a ghost? Something really had to shake him to do that. And to tell a friend, a police officer, dude, that's some balls there. So, Connor, I don't know if you know that story, if you ever seen that before, but what do you think?
No, that's new to me, but I loved it. It was a chilling story. The reenactment was spot on, but of course I agree with Amber too. There's nothing like being in the moment. You know, yes. RPG and Stacy were talking about how the paranormal is based on subtleties, you know, and our life is based on huge motions and actions. So when you find that balance that that dark force or whatever the heck's out there could pull you into the subtleties, man, your heartbeat starts pacing up and everything feels a lot more real. But it was amazing. I love a lot of the stories of the ladies in blue, ladies in white. They're all so chilling, and hearing the different tales on it, but then seeing the correlations, very chilling. Not what I was expecting with just the haunted house and then all the racket with the outside, and even the dogs were getting riled up. So it was I definitely believe it was an authentic encounter. Something was going on in Honolulu and Hawaii. One has stolen land. We took their land, so there's a lot of tension right there. So anybody that is pale-faced coming over there is definitely going to be taking over by the jungle. But I think there's something hiding down in the lava tubes other than the little people and the Pukwudgies. There's some kind of other entity and force. And
again, it was done by a news channel. It wasn't done by like a regular TV show. So they felt something was enough for them to put this together. So that was really cool. So beyond that, guys, now this next segment is not for everybody. I understand that, but we are going to go into the Mandela effect, and we're going to talk about the Bible. So, and I know religion, a lot of people are sensitive about it, but this is actually going to be a good one. This ain't going to be a change of a change. It's going to be about a conversation about a change. Here we go.
Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father. He told me enough. He told me you killed him. Luke, I am your father.
Now, I know I saw a comment already. People just mismirroring stuff. Guys, I'm not here to say all this is true or not. This is all for fun. Now, the reason I'm bringing up the Bible, it seems like sometimes I check out communities and I check out what is the flavor of the month and stuff. And it seems like a lot of people are talking about Bible changes all over the place. I mean, it's almost like I've seen people bomb channels because of the Bible. But can we even do any Mandela effects on the Bible? And this is what I'm talking about. Here's a short 2-minute video about the history of the Bible. So this is a history here. This is not a Mandela effect video of the Bible. This is actually a real history of the Bible from a church. I don't know, from a religion type of company. Here we go. How the Bible
is the most widely read book in the history of the world, far outselling any other book, with 3.9 billion copies sold over the past 50 years. Many believe it contains the actual Word of God. But many people don't realize that over the past 2,000 years, this sacred text has changed a great deal. No first edition exists. Well, we have our copies, the first of which were made hundreds of years after the events supposedly took place. For the first 100 to 200 years, copies of the Bible were made by hand, and not by professionals. This led to many errors, omissions, and most importantly, changes. Here are the 3 biggest.
Guys, I'm going to continue it, but remember what he says there. Errors and changes.
The earliest manuscripts of the Gospel of John did not include Jesus challenging the mob that was about to stone a woman by saying, "Let any among you who are without sin cast the first stone." In fact, the story was inserted into the book of John somewhere around 200 to 300 years later. Bill Warren, scholar at the New Orleans Baptist Theological Seminary, told NPR the early church canonized books and not stories. So when it had authentic stories from Jesus in the oral tradition, they had to find a way to put it in the text. In the Gospel of Mark, we learn about how Jesus rose from the tomb on the 3rd day and appeared to various people, including his disciples. In original manuscripts of Mark, this part of the story is nowhere to be found. Warren says scribes were seeing the other Gospels with resurrection stories, so they felt adding a resurrection story in Mark would round out the text better. In the Gospel of Luke, Jesus' dying plea for his executioners to be forgiven, for they know not what they are doing, was not originally intended to describe the actions of the Romans. According to Bart D. Ehrman, the author of Misquoting Jesus, the story behind who changed the Bible and why, in earlier versions it was meant to refer to the Jewish leaders who had sentenced him to death. He told NPR this was a problem for Christians in the 2nd and 3rd centuries who believed God hadn't forgiven the Jews and still blamed them for killing Jesus. So it was taken out, only to be added centuries later and changed to reference the Romans. As recently as the 1940s, when the Dead Sea Scrolls were found, we discovered a version of the Old Testament containing alternate versions of various books, including the Book of Samuel. Scholars continue to argue about many aspects of the Bible and how it's changed over the centuries.
Okay, So now you're asking the crowd, why am I showing that? There's Mandela effects I touch, and there's some Mandela effects I don't touch. The Mandela effects I don't touch is from the Bible, just because what you saw there, that a Bible has gone through 2,000 years of changes. You even saw there, it was written, someone written for the Romans, they changed it for this, they changed it for that. They say the Bible's been rewritten over 2,000 times. So when people saying, this used to say this and that, it probably has been said at one time 1,000 years ago in a Bible, or in this, and this, and this. It's just, to me, it's one of those impossible ones. I did a video a while back about Spider-Man webs, right? Kind of a fun little joke little one. And I said it's kind of hard to say if that's a Mandela effect or not, because there's thousands of different versions of Spider-Man. Spider-Man started when we weren't even born yet. So there's different writers, different cartoonists, different stories, so many different versions. Where do you even start with to say, does it affect with the web or not? It's almost like it's next to impossible. And for me, I feel like when people come out saying Bible changes, it's almost next to impossible, because the amount of changes it has gone through to match the area that the Bible's meant. So this is kind of a different kind of an effect. It's just kind of like, sometimes you do got to wake up, and can you really research all the way back to changes on a Bible? I mean, Connor, everything I'm saying, am I making sense at all?
You're making sense. Yeah, there's been so many rewrites and different versions and then retranslations of the Bible. It is hard to decipher it completely, 100%. That's where you have to let it kind of inspire you and how you interpret it, and you live it through the actions. You got to be the living Bible. But when you know the truth and you're on the right path, your spirit will know it. So all the people that worship the Bible, but also worship NASA, you got a lot to learn, because the Bible talks about fixed and immovable, guys, and heaven above. We have to get back to where we came from and kind of spit out the regurgitated stuff that all of our schools forced upon us in every single movie and little propaganda that hit us. We have to break free from it, and that starts inside. You have to feel what's right. Trust your senses. So I'm big on living the Bible. There's mud fossils and giants and leviathans and heaven and a lot more in there. And the book of Enoch needs to start being, talked about a little bit more. The Nephilim are being, of course, rushed under the rug because there's something to it. But what I get from the Bible is that magic is real. And of course, we hold a soul that, is pure in the Creator's image. So all these dark forces, they don't hold a light to us. And no naysayer holds a candle to a community of believers.
And these two words she says, or he, I'm sorry, Josh, he, language evolves. That is so true, because the way somebody wrote back 2,000 years ago could have a total different meaning on what that same sentence means now. I mean, shit, in America, we have one word that means 3-4 different things. I mean, language evolves so much. And then somebody earlier said something, where is it? Something like, what if Germany won the war, World War II? What would the Bible say now? Because different path, different companies would probably write it differently if Germany did win the war, and that could be a true statement too.
Well, I'll tell you right now that Germany didn't lose the war. Operation Paperclip proves that. All their highest officials were brought into our forces, so they might not have won the war, but they didn't lose the war either. There was deals signed, and now everybody's under their control. Break free, guys.
Break free. And overall, the Bible represents love your neighbor, trust each other, go out, have fun, live life, do it the right way. Don't steal, don't be a criminal, don't murder. I mean, basically, that's a simple word what the Bible is, and anybody could take it and read it so many different ways. It's like I could go and buy a deck of tarot cards and act like I know everything, but if I don't believe in it, if I don't feel it, it's not the same thing. You just can't pick up a Bible and read it once and think you know everything about it. You have to, like Connor was saying, you have to feel it. You have to want to read it. You want to know what the scripture is saying. My brother's not on this show today, and what's great is he's read several different Bibles. So when he comes and talks about the Bible, he's not talking about on one type of book reading. He's actually read, I don't know how many, but I would say 5 to 10 different Bibles, which gives you a better understanding what each verse means for what country it's meant for what time frame, what year that the book was written. So maybe one day we'll get him back on the channel, and maybe we'll do a whole 2-hour show, because you can. Dude, we can spend all day on the meaning of the Bible and still get nowhere.
I believe the chariots of fire were spaceships, and I think there was a lot of talk of dragons, giants, and the Great Flood is what, kind of is an allegory of the Tartarians, the mud flood. But there's been so much more that's been undiscovered, that's kind of hinted to in these magical books. And yeah, you have to read the Quran and also the Book of Mormon, the follow-up. Just try to tap in and dive into as many sacred texts as we can. And there's many more that, outdate the Bible, of course.
Yep. Read this. Danny says, my dad was a preacher. I have heard so much about the Bible. It makes my head hurt now. My grandpa was a minister. So, Danny, I know what you're talking about. My grandpa used to say stuff, and I would not even understand what the hell he's saying. I didn't. It's the writing is so different. It's like Shakespeare. I mean, it's a whole Shakespeare type of writing, and sometimes I'll admit I would have to read a paragraph from a Bible 10 to 20 times to try to understand what the hell they're saying. That's what I'm saying. It's complicated. And think about that. 5 to 10 different times in 2,000 different Bibles. Man. So,
Earth takes shape like clay pressed under a steel, baby. I love that one, and I love the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. The firmament is the dome, y'all, and every single logo kind of mimics it. Look at Disney.
So, guys, I told you it's a different kind of a Mandela effect. I wasn't here proving something. I was here saying it's almost impossible to prove just because of 2,000s of years of changes gone through. Who knows that one verse now wasn't written 1,500 years ago. It is what it is. But beyond that, guys, I had a great time. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's show. What do you got coming up for the people who want to know for the weekend?
Oh, man. I'm actually heading to the woods right when my mom picks me up. We're going to a place called Look and Tremble Rapids, which is famous whitewater down here in Florida. Has a couple ghost stories. But I'm actually going to have her film a little bit of me. I'm going to GoPro my journey, and she's going to fish. But then once I get back, she's going to film on my phone, and I'm going to do a review of what happened in the Green Swamp because I'm going to be sending that footage to Matt Williamson, Squatch in South Florida, because he's putting together a documentary of the whole weekend last week in Lakeland. A little bit of the conference, but then what happened after the conference was truly magical. He had dowsing rods and manifestation and a lot of things going on in the sky, in his mind, and in the environment, and it was all connecting. And then the next day, we went out to the Green Swamp, which, a bunch of teams have been having crazy activity. Tim T has been finding hair and a lot of structures. Chris Connors has been calling it Skinwalker Swamp. I know Nana Boss was thinking that, hey, something might be wrong with these skunk apes, the way how they're so violent out there. But Matt, needed to go out there, and so did I. I drove all the way across the state, and to be out there with another researcher is truly magical. And we were supposed to go out with a larger group, and it ended up just falling down to the four pillars. We represented what the Bible's talking about. So we had the tri-field meter and a bunch of cameras going, and we had a crazy interaction that lasted about 5 to 15 minutes long of knocks back and forth that we think was with 2 juvenile Sasquatch, and then we had a large knock from far in the swamp from Mama back home at camp. And we found a bunch of footprints, and then we actually captured a couple of the tree peekers looking around at us, and their dark faces are very large. And Matt's turning it into a documentary. It might be on YouTube, but we might honestly go the Amazon Prime route, because that's what Into the 400 got, and you get that push from the documentary side.
Get your
for
word out there
nature, man.
bigger. Yep. That's awesome. That's how you do it. I mean, I love the way you're thinking. You know, you're thinking of the long term, not the short term. You're not thinking of the fast views right now. You're thinking of long term. Amazon's, it's always on there. More people watch it. Tell a friend. Let's go to the YouTube channel. That's how you do it. And guys, before we go, anybody in the comments, if you have video clips, I'm going to say this again. Send me a link to it. Send me an email. This week, I have shown 4 videos from a link that somebody sent me, and Long Island Bigfoot sent me a link last week that I used. So if you guys have a link, a video, make sure it's not like 5 to 20 minutes, or give me a timestamp out of this hour video between, I don't know, 5:54 to 5:58. Just 3-4 minutes was magical. Let me know. You could be on the next breaking news.
And guys, watch Zillafoot free on Amazon Prime. Tough through it. You know, it is so bad it's good, cult classic. It is wild, but it will definitely get you ready for The Void Cat, because this is an awesome werewolf movie. The trailer is on YouTube. The full movie will be out very soon. We've been doing very well in the festival circuit, but we're going to put it on a website soon. Maybe YouTube, maybe Tubi, maybe something like Vimeo for $3.99 or something, man. But I'm very excited. And also, guys, if y'all, can't keep up with the speed of my voice, then watch. Yeah, I'll let this play real quick.
The flesh of the unguided and non-believers fuel this void.
Ooh.
I had to show that. I'm sorry.
Yes. And guys, of course, check out The Panhandle Pirates. It is on sale on Amazon. And then Eerie Swamps, Road Trip to Eden. This is going to be remade by Beyond the Fray Publishing. And the cover looks really rad. I actually am meeting with them tomorrow for the final edit. So it's going to be out in the next month, hopefully. Check out Monsters and Mysteries Around the Corner. And then my baby, Big Brother, Bigfoot. And yesterday, I had an awesome little hike at Ecofana Creek that I got 2 hours worth of footage. I already had the video made up. It's very cool. It got really dark really quick out there, and it was really scary. It's near Devil's Hole, where Donnie Miller had an encounter. Heard a lot of noises. I'm pretty sure I recorded 2 or 3 knocks, and it felt like they were closing in on me. So hopefully my back cam can magnify for some people. I know Damien and Long Island Bigfoot, Colorado Bigfoot, Tim T. They all got that eagle eye approach. And our new friend Northman's Keep. And thank you, Flat Rock Booger, for kind of linking us together. All of us Young Guns got to stick together. And I love how Young Guns has taken an official group. It just started, there was a title of your show, and now people are like, yeah, you and the Young Guns group. And they're actually structuring it. They were talking about me and Matt at the conference. And they're kind of talking about Tristan and Tyler. And there's a lot of Young Guns. I know Chad Smith, Josh, Evan, a lot of big names and big plans for people under 30. So, man, email Forbes.
Oh, Hazel Fever. I was about to talk about your M&M's Mandela effect, because I got there's some major stuff with those M&M's, not just about the colored M&M's. I was going to save that for our breaking news on Monday. So, guys, on Monday, I didn't want to do his M&M's because he just came out with a video about M&M's. I got some more stuff of that Van Halen and the M&M color change. So if you want to know a little bit even more beyond what he put out, come back on Monday, because I'm going to tell you more about how this M&M is actually huge for me, but for a different reason. So beyond that, guys, I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see everybody later.